Cinematic mode, baby. All right, so after leaving my corporate job, I ended up starting a events and marketing agency with a couple other dudes. And we grew our client list pretty fucking fat, and it was pretty cool for a while. It was my first experience really like conducting big business. We had 7 employees here in the States and then like 13 in Mexico and in the Philippines. And that was a great experience. That all fell apart because one of our partners had like a massive spending problem, just couldn't help but to spend all of our company money and just make really bad decisions with it. Now, huge learning experience there and partnerships and stuff. I've had a bunch of failed partnerships, but that's just what happens when you become an entrepreneur. So the point is that I went on and started working with clients after that because that was a way that I knew how to make money. Now, I remember being in my job prior to that, I fucking hated being told what to do. I hated those urgent emails. I hated like my boss kind of constantly giving me constructive criticism that was also just a way of like micromanaging and like, you know, kind of like putting me down to make sure that I fell in line with their objectives, right? There's so many like power plays or power moves at play when it comes to the office space that like they're so transparent too, and there's so many of these like control mechanisms, and I just fucking hated like feeling like I had someone who I had to be subservient to, or they could just like take it all away, right? This whole concept of like having like manners for this person and just fucking sucking up to them so that you could just like keep your job. It felt like such a fucking pitiful position. Anyways, when I was running the agency, you know what? It wasn't that different because you are a servant of your clients. And when you put yourself in the servant position, no matter how much people pay you, they demand from you, and they love that. The clients always love to be the higher power, right? There's very few clients that are chill, and even the ones who are chill, they have these moments of like being demanding and being assholes and like, you know, can be crazy. So anyways, I started working with clients on my own, and as I started gaining more and more clients on my own, I realized, fuck, this isn't really what I want, you know? Now I have like 5 to 10 bosses, and instead of just working in a job with one boss, I have 5 to 10 bosses telling me what to do, demanding things, reports, this, that, the other thing, right? And it became clear pretty quick, but I didn't really like understand what other options I had. You know, I had to keep doing what I knew and understood. So then I started launching low ticket products, and I was able to scale a low ticket product and then get high ticket coaching clients off of that. And I thought that would be a better path, you know? So I started being a high ticket coach, but then I was coaching like 10 people. And guess what? When you coach 10 people, what is that similar to? That is similar to working with clients, because now you have 10 people, and although they might not be as like demanding as clients because they're not necessarily in the power position, they're more looking up to you to help them. They're also in they're in a different version of the power position. They're in the struggle position where they need hand holding and help. And when they make mistakes, they don't like to blame themselves. They want to blame you, or some of them do, you know? And as you grow a high ticket coaching business, you're going to run into people who don't take much responsibility for their actions, don't do much, and then complain, and then inevitably you'll have people who want refunds. Can you imagine refunding like a $6,000 payment after like 2 months because someone's just like livid and like didn't live up to their own expectations? You know, dealing with people like that is horrid. Now, I can see the other side of the argument, people being like, oh, well, you just didn't do it right, or you have to set expectations and all this. Dude, I get it. I understand. I know and understand how to manage people. I've been doing this for fucking ever. I'm just saying it doesn't matter how good you are and how good your systems and processes are and like what type of coach you are. You're gonna run into like 1 out of 7, 1 out of 10 at least. You're gonna have these people who get into the system, who you're coaching, who become a fucking nightmare. And it might just be easier to return their money, or they're gonna want extra sessions and this and that, and they're gonna like really, you know, kind of push you to your limits, okay? And your company too. And as you scale, and if you're doing, you know, 50 high ticket people a month, you just have to understand that realistically, out of the 50 people a month, you're gonna have a good handful of people that are pissed. A great example of this, I mean, I could go into countless examples of this, like, and I personally know coaches who are currently running their coaching offer, and low-key, they hate it. Many of them do. And I even talked to, about a year ago, I talked to a lady who was a photographer coach, and she scaled her business to like 80 grand a month. And she gave up the whole thing because she was so fucking sick of dealing with it. Okay? It's just not this glamorous thing. And the reason is because, again, instead of clients bugging you, it's students who are bugging you in a different way, but it's still this like human to human interaction that you have to deal with. And it's a puzzle piece you need to figure out. And it's not one that's like a fun fucking game. Okay? It looks all glorious on the outside. What I was gonna say is a perfect example of this is there's this guy who has like a high ticket affiliate program, and he's a coach. And if you go, I forget what platform it's on where you can access his program, but it's like it's something like a 30% return rate. Oof. I don't even think that's that bad, but it's like a $7,000 program or something. So like 30% of people demand their money back. That's crazy. So out of 100 people who sign up, 30 people are probably livid. And let's say you're doing 100 people a month, like you're really scaling and stuff. You got 30 disgruntled customers who you need to return like 7 grand to. Oof. Oof. Not my cup of tea. Anyways, the point of this video is that fucking clients suck. Students sort of suck, you know? You want to, if you're gonna work with students, you're gonna do the high ticket coaching thing. The thing that I've realized is you have to only pick people that really fit your specific criteria. For me, the only way I would do it is if the person really fits my specific criteria, I would limit the coaching to like 1 month, 1 or 2 calls a week, and I would only do like 1 or 2 of those a month, so that it was like hyper limited. I would charge a shitload for it, you know, or a pretty good amount. But in terms of like scaling a business like that, no, it's a nightmare. I would never want to do that. It would just be fun to coach people here and there for me and just get paid a little bit of money to do it. Now, if you reach like Russell Brunson status, you know, and you can charge $500,000 for a day or $1 million for a day or whatever he charges, then like, yeah, I would do that like a couple times a month. That'd be insane. So it's got to make sense. But the concept of like starting a high ticket coaching business where you're pumping people in and you're building a team around it and you're making these huge promises and you're getting 50 to 100 people, you know, a month, fucking nightmare. even though, again, it looks all good on the outside, and there's so many people who have, who you can see online who are doing this, that are making it look good. A lot of those people also get so many complaints that they actually get in trouble. They like skirt the line of getting in trouble at some point, or lawsuits and shit like that. But again, you don't hear about that stuff. Okay, so why am I saying all this, man? Because fuck clients, dude. Like, you don't want to go down a path where you have all of that friction and trouble just waiting to come fucking bite you in the ass, right? That's why, again, this model that I preach of selling software is just so much fucking better. It's just so much better. And you free yourself from all of that mental strife. And I don't know about you guys, but I can't fucking handle, I adopt my clients' problems and I start thinking about them too much. And then I become kind of obsessed with solving their problem. And then at the end of the day, I look at it and I'm like, bro, they only paid me $2,500 this month. Like, what am I doing? Why am I putting this much time and effort into their problems when I need to be focusing on making my own income better, not giving my whole life to their bullshit, right? And I do that because, like, I want them to succeed. So it's just a weird bullshit trap that you can get sort of sucked into with these clients, where you end up just doing way too much for what they pay you. Now, there's one fucking story I gotta tell you that I know you guys could relate to. All right, so my last client, I fired all of my clients. My last client contract ended in May or June, end of May, I think. And they're a great client that I work with once a year for like 6 months out of the year, because they sort of do this sprint. And they actually paid me fat. Like, I made a lot of money off of them. And they're like technically a good client. Like, in the grand scheme of things, they are one of the best clients, and I have a good relationship with the owner of the business, okay? However, his team, who I deal with mostly, is all over the place. So I just want to give you an example of why I fucking hate clients. And even though this is a good client. So we wrap up our whole thing in early May or end of May, somewhere in May. And 3 weeks later, I get an email that's from one of like the VPs there that says, hey, you know, here's all the information, you know, here's all the people that we closed, here's all the stats, here's blah, blah, blah. Like, so they sent me sort of like a mini report, barely anything. And this lady says to me, hey, I'm just curious if you think it's worth running ads, or like what we should do for next year. Because my whole project was running ads for them. And I'm like, okay, that's such a loaded question, and that's such a fucking like offensive question. Do you think it's worth running ads? Number one, she's asking me to defend my position and prove to them why, you know, running ads was even a smart idea in the first place, which is so fucking offensive, because if I didn't run ads, they wouldn't have made any money. So even though I got them fantastic results, she's trying to play this power play situation of like, do you think it's even worth running ads? Like, bitch, right? So that's one thing. Number two, it could be a lead into, hey, we don't want to work with you anymore, you know, and I'm aware of that, but I just know that that's not the situation. This person's just not like that savvy. So it's just kind of like a loaded thing that really pissed me off. And then number three, she was like, I mean, if you're gonna ask me, the person who ran your ads and helped your company make money, basically they had no other way of making money besides ads. They needed to get these like student enrollments, and outside of running ads, there was no way that they could get the enrollments, you know? They weren't doing like in-person events. They weren't doing like any of the other methods, right? So when you ask me if it's worth running ads, like how dumb do you have to be in your business to not know the answer to that question? Go look at your numbers and say, well, we could do this, we could do that, we could do this, or we had success with this or that. I don't think we need to run ads, right? That's a business decision that you need to make. Don't make me prove myself by asking me if we should still run ads, right? Like, I don't need to be making that business decision for you. Don't put that decision on me. That is your decision. If you don't want to run ads, then don't run ads. But look at the stats. Like, how else are you gonna fucking make money? So do you want me to write you an email back being like, that's a good question, should you run ads or not? Well, if you were getting enrollments via another vehicle that was much cheaper than this, and you can scale that, then don't run ads, right? Like, or if you can't do that, then you need to run ads. It's like, do I really need to tell you that? Do I really fucking need to tell you that? So then the email goes on. It starts off with a fucking insult like that. After I've like poured my heart and soul to getting these people results, it starts, and getting them fantastic results. It starts off with an insult in my mind. And then she asks for me to analyze all this information and write a report on what we could do better next year, you know, how we could improve things, where, you know, all the request was fucking insane. This would take me like a week to put together what she asked me for. While starting out, should we even be running ads? Insult me, try to put me in my place as a lower position, assign me a bunch of work that they're not going to pay me for, you know, or because they've already stopped paying me, and then expect that I should come groveling back for them for my measly fucking check. Fuck off, dude. Fuck way the fuck off. The only reason I can say that, dude, that's the amount of feelings that I get from fucking dealing with clients. And that's just one client. That's just one client. Anyways, now, the freedom I have to be able to say, fuck off, or not even respond to this email. I was like, yeah, I'll take a look at it. Maybe I'll get back to you in a week or so. It's been like 3 weeks because that was such a fucking insult, right? Like, I don't want to work with them next year if that's how they're going to treat me, because they did treat me like shit this year, sort of like unknowingly. So they're just a weird, you know, their organization has a lot of problems that, they're good people. They just, I don't know, they don't have a clear like North Star, and it causes a lot of problems, and then it puts a lot of shit onto me. And then they kind of have unrealistic expectations, like basically asking me questions about their business when I run their ads. I don't run their business, you know? Anyways, so sick of dealing with shit like that, and that's why I was so fucking happy that I was able to create a system to create monthly recurring revenue that's dependable, so I could fucking escape the bullshit of dealing with clients or bosses. You know? It's just such a better fucking path. Such a better path. Anyways, long rant, I know. But I know you guys are here for those same reasons. You want to be able to wake up in the morning like I am right now and have a coffee and not have some urgent client request coming in, or, you know, a boss slapping you with some bullshit request that you know is just like meaningless, but you have to do it just because you want to get that paycheck, you know? You got to do it because you got to survive. You got to escape that, man. You got to escape that. So anyways, get that MRR, baby. If there's any message that needs to be taken from this is fuck clients, fuck bosses, fuck relying on all these people to pay your bills, and fuck having to be so fucking subservient to everyone and not live the life that you want to live. All right, see ya.